Alright, so this video is going to be about how to free your mind after leaving the ex-narcissist. So the deal is, I talk a lot about the body and getting in touch with the body and stuff like that, and reclaiming your body, etc., etc. And that's true. But at the same time, you need to be able to obviously free your mind from the bad memories of the narcissist, the haunting memories, the old feelings, things that are dragging you down, new fears that you have about the future, because you're afraid to do this, afraid to do that, or you might be afraid to repeat the past because the narcissist has really hammered at home that, you're in a cycle that you can't, an ugly cycle you can't get out of, and things like that. So what we're going to talk about is how to get your mind out of that sphere of thinking and to get you into a better place where you can see the good and what you've been through, and use it to your advantage, and use it towards your growth, and not be dragged down by some shit that you don't need dragging you down. So here's the deal. The ex-narcissist has left you feeling most likely shattered, in bits and pieces, lost, not feeling yourself, not knowing who you are, not knowing your capabilities, or your being out of touch with your passion, out of touch with your friends. A lot of ex-narcissists will probably had you, just like he did me, had you cut off your friends and shit like that, and not do things with your family and stuff like that, and instead to make them a priority. So we know how that goes. And we're haunted by thoughts and fears that linger, that make you think you can't even live life normally again because of what all they've done. And that's no way to live, and we're going to talk about how to get rid of that. So the first step I want you to do is to look back, forget about the ex-narcissist for a second, and look back on who you were before you met that person. Who were you? Because you weren't screwed up like this before you met them. Like you were probably okay. So you're gonna look back and see, and look at who you were, and look at your old self as someone that you've never seen before. Right? Just like try to remove yourself and look at yourself really from a third person point of view. Go back and look at your old self. If you need to, go back and look at pictures of yourself from, before you met the ex-narcissist, and look at how happy you were, and things like that. Go back and look at that. And without, take away the judgment, take away the labels, have a very, very open mind, and have a very gentle approach to that old you, as if it's somebody you've never seen before, and you're going to be very kind to. Okay. And you look at your old self and you say, now what do I notice about that girl? What do I notice about her? What do I see? And don't worry about positive versus negative features or characteristics or personality traits. Don't put labels on stuff like that. Be very open-minded with yourself, and be very kind to yourself, to this old version of you, and be very, very sweet to yourself, okay? Because we're not here to do judgments or victim blaming or any of that kind of shit, because I won't do that. But just be very loving to that old you, and just notice the things about her. If it helps to write it down, which I highly suggest, write it down. Write down the qualities. If you're not good at writing and you'd rather do like a voice recording, or you want to do a video of yourself talking about it, you want to go back and watch later, fine, good. But it's easier to organize your thoughts and remember what you thought about, if you can document it somehow. That's why I suggest that sometimes, but you don't have to. And think about those qualities, and ask yourself, what did the narcissist do to make you feel like that girl got snuffed out, or is somehow no longer here with us? You know what I mean? Because the ex-narcissist can only do so much to you, because the only reason they're doing what they're doing anyway is because they don't have any damn identity of their own. So they go and just like enmesh with other people, just to see what happens. Because because they're crazy. But the idea is that you are in the process of separating and cleaving your, not cleaving, sorry, that's the wrong word. Separating your identity from what the narcissist built for y'all. Because they built their little fantasy world where you can do stuff, but only through them. And their little fantasy world where they are in control of things, and you can have what you want to a certain extent so long as you do as they say and shit like that. And you need to separate yourself from that and remember who the hell you are. So you're going to go back, look at who you were before you met this person, and just examine the characteristics, the traits, the dreams and aspirations, the fantasies, and it's okay to look at the fears as well. Don't be afraid to examine yourself. Do you know what I mean? You want to look at your fears and consider those and put those on the list to remember who that person was. Do that. Whatever helps you get familiar with who you used to be. So, and not every person, not every woman has these issues with leaving an ex-narcissist, but a lot of us do. I certainly did. Like, I had to find myself all over again. I had to find myself after getting away from, especially the last one. The last one was a doozy. And I had to just rebuild myself entirely. I mean, it was, the things it was just nuts. It was ridiculous, the shit I had to do. But the good thing was I got to choose who I wanted to be. And that has changed over the years, because I've leveled up and I've learned things, and I've, gotten to different up levels, within my maturity and in my growth and everything. So I've changed over the years regardless, because I was bound to anyway. But finding myself after getting away from him was a task. But I did it. I just wish I could have had the help that I give people now. I probably wouldn't have taken me so long, but that's all right. So you're going to examine that girl you used to be. Take note. And remember that the ex-narcissist did the things that he did just to confuse you and just to control you. And none of that stuff is real. Nothing he said was real. Therefore, nothing he said or did could be permanent to you. He can't take pieces of you when he leaves and shit like that. Women are taught that conveniently, that when men associate with us, especially when they touch us, that they take pieces of us when they go. That's taught to you in order to control you. But that's not necessarily true. So we're going to hang that up because we're not going to use that mindset anymore, because that's not helpful. And instead, we're going to say, I'm still a whole person. I'm still that person. I'm still who I used to be. I just need to let her come out and breathe again, because the ex-narcissist has been squashing her like this, And now that you're away from him and you can breathe again and you can get your life back together again and you can start over, you're going to let her come back up to the surface little by little, step by step. And let her come up for air and breathe and just be again and just exist. And you can do that. And you take the small steps you need to take, if that's the case, to get to that point where you feel like you're going back to yourself again. The good thing about starting over is that now that you're away from him and you can put yourself back together, you have the option now to start being whoever you would like to be, because you're rebuilding now. So some parts feel like they've been knocked down. Some parts probably needed to get knocked down. Some parts needed rejuvenating, and some parts needed revamping, and things like that, like a house. Like you redo rooms. Some rooms stay the same. Some rooms just get touched up. Some rooms get knocked out completely and replaced. So that's what you're doing with your inner world. And that's okay to do that. We have to do that now and then anyway, because stagnation keeps you sick in a million ways. So you don't want stagnation. So all the rebuilding and all the work that you're putting into yourself is a good thing, and it might take time, but it's fine, because you deserve it. You deserve to rebuild, and you deserve the chance to love yourself again, except better this time, and you deserve to have the life you want. So once you've looked at those qualities, you can, from the old self, you can hang on to obviously the qualities you want to keep, you know, your hobbies you had that made you feel good, your close connections with your friends, you know, that you probably weren't allowed to talk to after you started dating him. You know, revive all that. You know, you pick and choose what you want to bring back. This is all your choice. That's the beauty in this, is you get to decide who you're going to be now. And this, and even though he was a son of a bitch that put you through a lot, that turmoil is actually giving you a chance to say, well, shit, I can be who I want now. It tore me down, but now I'm getting the opportunity to really consider who I want to be, or who am I at my next level of maturity, you know, emotional maturity, spiritual maturity, whatever you've always wanted to start working on your health or something like that, your physical health. You could start doing that now, because the new you would want to do that anyway. You know what I mean? Like things like that. So you examine your old self, look at whatever good qualities of your old self that you'd like to keep. You do that. Make notes of that. Your new self is going to be whoever you imagine yourself to be, like the best person that you can imagine yourself being. The best version of you is what I mean. And you look at your best version of yourself and you say, what does she do? What is your future self, right? The best version of you. What is her daily routine? What's her diet? What's her sleep pattern? How does she take care of her body? What kind of friendships does she have? What kind of friends does she have? Is she in touch with all her relatives, you know, her immediate family? Is she certain of herself? Does she have goals and aspirations? Does she take care of herself and do yoga or go for walks or something every day? Is she honest with herself about her fears? Does she work on conquering her fears so that she can conquer herself and be her own master? Things like that. Ask yourself any question you want to ask yourself about the future up-leveled you, and get answers about who you think she is. And I suggest write it down. You know, document that so you can go back later and look at it. Once you have that list going of qualities that you could aspire to, and it doesn't matter if it seems like it's far away, it doesn't matter if it seems daunting, it doesn't matter if it seems like it's hard or like that's so far ahead of the future and you don't know how you're going to get to it. Don't overwhelm yourself with things that seem like you can't do it. Don't look at it that way. Just make the list of things you'd like to aspire to and qualities you would like to have that your future self would have in a perfect world. And sit there and look at your list and take one or two of those ideas, because we're not going to overwhelm ourselves, right? You just take one or two of those ideas and you say, okay, now what can I do? What's a little step I can start doing today or tomorrow, whatever, if the day's over with? What's one little step I can start doing in the next day or two to begin my journey to having that quality? Let's say, for example, the future you, like the elevated you, is very calm, cool, collected, and doesn't freak out a lot, and doesn't worry, and doesn't have high anxiety and stuff like that, and has a good, calm approach to life, and has a very cool, soothing vibe, and is able to comfort herself easily and not freak out. Do you know what I mean? Let's say that's one of the qualities you'd like to have that you've never had before. You're going to ask yourself, what are the things I can do to get myself to that point where I can start being that way? Because you're rebuilding yourself. But like I say, the good part about this is that you get to decide who you're going to be and how you're going to do it and how far you want to go. So you would do self-soothing techniques like soothing your nervous system, getting grounded in your body, adopting whatever mindset you need to adopt to help yourself have a clear mind, not get overwhelmed, not let things bother you because you're looking at the big picture or whatever, or however you want to go about that. And And in my 12-week program, we go deep in that kind of stuff, because there's a lot of psychology in rebuilding yourself and getting away from the narcissist. People always say, when you get away from the ex-narcissist, you got to go no contact. Yeah, go no contact, no contact. The no contact thing is good, and I understand that, and yes, you should do that, if you can. But there's a lot more to it than just blocking that person's number. Like, you have to work on yourself. It's a lot of work, because it's so it's such a process. But you get to rebuild yourself, and when you come out of it, when you're on the other side of it, you're going to be this amazing version of you that you never thought you could be before. And the only reason for that, you'll only have yourself to thank for that, and hopefully a mentor if you get one, but you'll have yourself to thank mainly for the majority of the work, because you took the time to devote yourself to yourself, and to love yourself enough to take the time to say, you know what, I'm going to set this goal for myself because I know I can do it, and I love myself and respect myself enough to do this and make this happen, and I'm going to be 10 times better than I've ever been in the past. And all the ex-narcissist is going to have of me is the old messed up version of me as a trophy sitting up in his china cabinet, of all the women he's ever made miserable in his life. That old version of you can sit up there. Fine. That's all he gets. That's all he gets. He's never going to be able to even come 100 feet within the new you and who you're going to be after you rebuild and become this amazing person that really has been lying dormant in you all along. It's just that you didn't know how to tap into it. That's why you need the right guidance from somebody who has been there and has had to do that shit and knows how it goes. So you do little steps, little techniques, simple stuff. Don't let it overwhelm you, because if you let yourself get overwhelmed, you're going to lose interest. You're going to say, shit, I can't do this, just forget it, and you'll give up on yourself. And you do not need to give up on yourself right now. This is not a time for that. This is a time for you to get serious, and be serious with yourself, and respect yourself enough to take it seriously and say, you know what, I need to start building. I need to start putting myself back together, because you're not going to be able to operate and live a normal life if you're still, having nightmares about him, worrying about him, whatever, coming through the window or following you to work or whatever it is he might do. You have to be able to live your life. You can become the version of you that you need to become in order to live your life in peace and not be bothered by that shit anymore. To have your body back, to reclaim your body, to cleanse your body of the memories, to cleanse your nervous system, reset your nervous system so you can live and have your life and be free, and not be dragged down by that shit, and not be thinking every day about the shit he did to you and the lies and all the shit you're wading through, that you're still trying to figure out. Because what happens is, when the ex-narcissist, when you split from them and you get away from them, or they leave, whichever, usually it's you that leaves, right? They don't leave because they're in control. They don't want to leave. But once you get away from them, you have a tendency, you can spend so much of your time turning it over in your head over and over and over again, trying to figure out what the hell happened. And women especially try to problem solve and try to figure out what happened. And we obsess over, my God, how did that happen? Instead, we should be obsessing over, well, I'm going to rebuild myself, damn it, get out of the way. And that's what you need to be doing. That's the only thing, because especially if you've got children or people relying on you, your parents are older and they need you to help them and shit like that, or whatever it is. You've got people relying on you, or you've at least got somebody somewhere admiring you and watching you. You may not know it, but somebody somewhere is. At least for yourself, and if not, also for them as well. You have to shift your mind from worrying about his dumb ass and what he did over to what you need to do to put yourself back together. Because that's the most important thing. He's taught you that he's the most important thing, so you're going to worry about him because it's a brainwashing thing, but that's not, we can't worry about him. He's going to go on, because he's not going to go to therapy because there's nothing wrong with him. So he's going to go throughout the rest of his life doing the same shit to everybody else that he's done to you. Make him crazy. So we can't worry about what he's doing or try to figure it out because he's mentally ill. So we have to shift our focus from how did this happen to me, and how did I not see this, to, okay, how do I rebuild? And you just have to do it. And it's hard because it's easy to obsess over trying to figure out how you missed that shit, or even the shit you did see, at how you let it slide. Well, you let it slide because your boundaries were down because of your confidence. That's the only reason he was able to get in, is because of your low confidence. You had holes. You had holes in you, and he got in through the holes. And we just didn't know it. Well, we know it now. We figured it. We know now. So now it's just rebuilding time. Take 3 months or 6 months to just kind of, go in hermit mode if you can, and just put yourself back together. But you look at who you want to be. You want to draw a picture of her? Draw a picture of her. But at least describe who she is, what her day is like, how she thinks of herself, how she relates to her old self, how she talks about herself, how she talks about other people, how she sees other people, how she sees her place in the world, her mindset, things like that. And you pick something that you think you can handle, and you say, okay, how do I get to that goal? How do I do that? And you do whatever it takes to get yourself in the habit, to build yourself up, to get to that quality or that characteristic, whatever it is, or that mindset, whatever that is. So this is also included in the self-paced course I'm working on right now, how to be a bad bitch after leaving the ex-narcissist. So that if that speaks to you, I got you covered. I'm working on it as we speak. There's a early bird price of $50 if you sign up now, which is pretty damn good because it's going to be jam-packed like all my other courses. So this will be self-paced course. It's going to be video recordings, and you sign up now, you pay for it now. Once I'm finished with the course and I release it, you'll get it. You'll get the link for it. After I've released it and it's officially out, anyone who pays for it after it's released is going to pay the $100 price, because that's the full price. So if you want it, especially for $50, I highly suggest getting in on it now, because it's going to be loaded. The thing about my courses is they're self-paced, so once you buy them, you do them at your own pace. You take as long as you want. They don't expire. They don't go away. I'm not going to take the link away or unload it from wherever it is. It's going to be a private playlist on YouTube is what it is. So you can go back and refer to it forever. It's not going to go away. I know there's a lot of coaches who will give you full access to stuff for like a year or whatever, and then you have to go back and pay for it again after a year. I don't do that. Once you buy my stuff, if you buy something that you can download or you get a link to, you keep it forever. It doesn't go away. So, because that would defeat the purpose of buying it. But anyway, a lot of this is going to be in that course as well. And I'll put a link for that too. I know Instagram won't let me do links. Facebook group, I'll do the link. And if you can't find it, or if you have questions, whatever, y'all know what to do. Just message me, whatever. It's good. I'll get you set up. So what you need to remember is that it is okay to do what you're doing, and it is okay and it is safe to work on the things you want to work on and become who you want to become. And one of the ways to do that, and to remind yourself that you're safe especially, is to get back into your body. And this is why I go over body work so much with my clients, because getting grounded in your body again, especially for the feminine, is absolutely huge. That's so important to do. It's so important because we are supposed to be able to enjoy our bodies, experience a lot through our bodies, experience all different types of pleasure and happiness and nurturing and soothing and calmness. All of those things, we're very connected to our body because our bodies are so powerful. Obviously, we know the things they do. And because of that, and because this is your temple, you should be allowed to take care of it, look after it, nourish it, cherish it, make it look how you want it to look, and be proud of it, and to feel beautiful in it, and to be able to feel your eternalness and your essence shine through it. You know what I mean? And really, get in touch with your inner goddess and your your inner divinity and all that kind of good stuff. And because that is in there. And for you to get in touch with that and enjoy your body and feel that in your fibers, feel that power, the vibration of the universe, inside you, that's huge. Once you can get in with that and you start realizing how great your life can be when you live that way and live your power through your body like that, it's very grounding, and it's very satisfying, and it's very empowering, and it's uplifting, and it's exciting, to name a few things. But that's another thing that we work on. If you want to do the deep dive and go 12 weeks with me, that's one of the big things that we work on, is getting back in your body. Because that, like I say, every single time, I'm going to start working on this tonight, I promise. I got to fix it because it doesn't fit right. But every single time I come back to belly dance, I come back to myself. Every time I start dancing, I come back to me. I find myself. I get back in my body. Every time. As soon as I hear the drums, I start moving. I'm me again. Every time. It never fails. So if you can find something that makes you feel good like that where you feel like you've come home, if you can get that and get in touch with that and use that as often as possible, it doesn't have to be every day, but especially at the end of a bad day or whatever, when you need to just find yourself again, whatever you can do to get back to just like reclaim yourself and reclaim your body like that, I highly suggest it. It doesn't have to be dance. If you're not the dancing type, that's fine. You like to exercise, go for a walk, do your stretches, do yoga stretches and meditation, whatever it is that makes you feel like you really own your body and you're really in control of it. That's why I like the dance, because dance is creative and it leaves room for you to do whatever you want with it. So that's why I do that. But, for different people, it'd be different things. If you don't want to do any of that, you're not into movement and you want to calm down and sit still, take a real good salt bath or, a bubble bath and just calm down and just let the water, merge with you and just let it soothe you, because the elements like that are the most nourishing things you can use to just come back to yourself and just find your place again and in the cosmos and in the world and things like that, and find your place in your own life again. That's deep stuff we'll go over another time, but that's a really good topic. So those are just some ideas of things you can do to find yourself again and to take your mind back, to reclaim your mind again, because we get so obsessed with what happened and how it made us feel, and we're tempted to take revenge and things like that. And I don't want you to waste your time and your energy on things that are making you miserable, and that is worrying about what happened, trying to figure out what happened, being angry at him, because he's not going to change. Well, he may change. The narcissist, NPD, full-blown, real and true NPD, are mentally ill, and they don't get better, on their own. They have to go to therapy, and they don't think they need therapy. So it's safe to assume he's never going to get better if he's a real and true NPD. So that being the case, we can't worry about what he's done or what he's doing today or whatever. We can't worry about that because he's not going to get better. You can get better, so we need to think about you. And you quit thinking about him and you start thinking about yourself. And once you make yourself a priority in this process, you're going to be unstoppable after that, because you're looking at you. And when you look at yourself, you can say, okay, now where can I rebuild? Where can I make myself stronger? Where can I improve? And you do that however you want to do it. That's why I like to keep a notebook to write my ideas down of things like that, that I can do for self-improvement or whatever, just ideas and things I want to work on. And if I forget something, I can go back and look, if once I think I've figured something out and I've improved myself in a certain area, I'll go back to that list and be like, all right, what's the next thing I think I can handle? And it's just one at a time. It's one at a time. You don't overwhelm yourself with it, because if you overwhelm yourself with it, you're going to have yourself thinking you can't do it because it's too much. And there's a lot of healing and a lot of soothing and a lot of nurturing that has to be done after leaving the ex-narcissist because of the damage they do. So I want you to show yourself a lot of love and respect and mercy while you're doing this, because it can be hard sometimes. And some of us had to start from rock bottom with this process. So, and when you don't have any help, it's harder. And I don't want that for anybody. So that's why I do the stuff I do. But anyway, I think I'll leave that at that for now. Well, I could probably do a part 2 to this, and I might do that because this is such a good topic. But that's the general idea. So that's some of the stuff we go over in the new self-paced course I've got going, and also, you know, if you want to go 12 weeks with me, and we will just revamp you completely. Like you will be unstoppable, because you don't see me with any damn losers. Like, you don't see me with, you know, because they just, once you get to a point where you carry yourself a certain way, and people around you know that you're not going to take any shit, you're not going to attract anybody who's going to pull that shit on you, because they're going to see you and they're going to know right away that they can't touch you. And that's just how it is. And that can be your reality. You can have that. Women have a tendency to look at other women and tell themselves, man, I could never be like her. I could never have that kind of freedom. I could never be that happy. I could never. We're taught to tell ourselves those things because it makes us easier to control. But I'm here to tell you, you don't have to live that way. Like, no one tells me what to do except the IRS. But besides that, there's no man telling me what I'm going to do or what my capabilities are or any of that kind of shit. It just doesn't happen. That's not the types of men I'm around anymore. So, we'll go over the types of men I'm around now. I'll probably do another video for that, because that deserves its own video. But what I want you to understand is that you do deserve this. You do. And you can have this. All you need to do is just say yes to yourself and say, I'm ready to rebuild. I'm ready to rebuild. I'm ready to become who it is I'm meant to become, whoever that is. And the best part about this is that you get to decide who the hell that's going to be. You get to choose. It's not something that you've seen on TV or somebody taught you when you were little. It's not someone else's idea. This would be your idea. This would be your artwork, your masterpiece. You are your own masterpiece. And you can just be anything. You can be anybody you want to be. I mean, to be you, you know, but I mean, like, be the version of you that you aspire to be. You can do that. And that's what I want for y'all. So I want you to feel good about yourselves. I want you to understand that you can be free. I want you to be able to release all that old shit that's holding you back, all those old fears, all those old stories that you turn over in your head a million times trying to figure it out. You know, you can be free of that and just live and love yourself and respect yourself and take care of yourself and shine. And if you want, you know, when you're ready to date again, you can sure as hell get yourself around better men, because I do. I mean, I write about it a lot. You know, I should make videos about it, really, but just to give you an idea of who is actually out there that you can have. But you have to believe that you deserve it. And at the same time, you have to level up to a point where you've polished yourself and you've worked on yourself to where you're ready for a man of that caliber. Because you know, as you work on yourself, you'll draw in men who are at your level, and one way or another, and you'll see they'll show you things you need to work on. You know what I mean? And that has happened to me. It still does. I see men who seem great, and for the most part they're great, but they'll have one little thing that just maybe irks me, and then I need to ask myself, is that something to work on within myself, or am I just being picky? You know, and it's up to you to decide which it is. You know, but depends on how often you see it and how often it slaps you in the face. So, because it has me. So don't feel bad. But I'll probably say that for another time. But you can have that life. You can have the freedom and the wholeness that you desire, and that's why I'm here. So anyway, that's that for that video, and I'm gonna leave y'all at that for tonight. And I may go live tomorrow with another video. I don't know. I don't announce the times for lives. I just kind of do it whenever. But if you miss the lives, or if they disappear or whatever, because I don't know if Facebook is going to hang on to it, I always upload it to YouTube. So if you can't find it or you're looking for it, just message me and tell me what the topic was, and I'll probably be able to dig it up for you. So that's it for tonight. Thanks for sticking around, and I'll see you next time.